There was this guy at the office who lived for spreading rumors about female coworkers. When one woman wore a bodycon dress, he'd joke she was definitely into kinky stuff after hours. When another got promoted with a raise, he'd claim she slept her way to the top with the boss. When he saw me leaving work in a Bentley, jealousy ate him alive. He started telling people I had 3 sugar daddies. He even followed me and cut me off in traffic. Driving so fast, you got a sugar daddy waiting. I just snarled back, you're wasting my time and you'll regret this. Turns out I was speeding, because there was a pregnant woman in labor in my back seat. And that woman, his wife. On the way to the hospital, some guy in a Volkswagen cut me off 3 times on purpose. I was in a rush, so I let it go. But my patience only egged him on. Bang! He forced me to a complete stop. When I rolled down my window and got a good look at his face, I realized it was Dylan Pierce, that guy from work who loved labeling everyone. He had a cigarette hanging from his mouth as he swaggered out of his car, looking all smug and mocking. Driving so fast you got a sugar daddy to service a luxury car. Getting cut off downtown quickly drew a crowd. This is wild. Some dude in a beat-up VW picking a fight with a Bentley? He must have a death wish. I'd had enough. I pushed open my door and stepped out. Dylan, there's an emergency. Move out of my way before you regret it. But he didn't care. He glanced at the Bentley logo and sneered. Emergency. He raised his voice, making sure everyone around could hear. Your emergency is meeting your sugar daddy, right? Can't wait to service your client. Hope you can keep up with his demands. Makes sense. How else would a regular employee afford a Bentley? Unless she's selling herself. His words lit up the crowd. The crowd's admiring looks at the luxury car turned to daggers aimed at me. I let out a bitter laugh. But rich families don't have daughters. But right then, the pregnant woman in the back seat, Pearl Anderson, was clutching her heavily pregnant belly, face ashen with pain. If I didn't get her to the hospital soon, someone could die seeing me stay quiet. Dylan got bolder. He stepped closer, spittle flying as he talked. Cat got your tongue? Feeling guilty? Hey, princess. Why not share your secrets for landing a Bentley? I'm sure everyone here would love to know. The crowd snickered and nodded along. Their judgmental stares burned into me. I felt suffocated. I clenched my fists, jaw tight enough to crack. Whether my money is clean or not is none of your business. Your wife is in the car. She is in labor. If something happens because of your games. You'll regret it forever. Dylan laughed. Like I told the funniest joke ever. Please, my wife's due date isn't for weeks. You think I'll fall for that? Then a twisted idea crossed his face. Fine. If you spend it, publicly admit you're a prostitute. I'll move. He turned to the crowd again. Listen up. This woman's nothing but a gold-digging whore. Remember her face. If you're dating, steer clear. She'll drain your bank account. The crowd erupted in laughter. People pulled out phones to record me. I trembled with rage, chest heaving. Dylan, you say I'm selling myself. Do you got any proof? If not, that's slander. I'll call the cops right now and sue you for defamation. He froze for a second, then lost it completely. Iris, don't push me. I'm doing you a favor, trying to help you see sense. If you escalate this, you'll be the one humiliated. I stayed calm, face steady. I've got nothing to hide. Why would I be ashamed? But you are spreading lies about me. I'll make sure you pay for this. Dylan's face turned purple with rage. Fine, if you want to humiliate yourself, be my guest. He fumbled for his phone, held it up high, and yelled, everyone, look. Here's the proof. The crowd leaned in. People nearby craned their necks, then gasped, there it is. Let's see her explain this. On his screen was a video of a woman linking arms with some middle-aged guy. Walking into a fancy hotel. And the woman's build and hair looked exactly like mine. According to this video, Dylan was telling the truth. I was the liar. Dylan smugly put his phone away and smirked at me. Admit you're an escort, get on your knees and apologize. And I'll let you go. Deal. My mind raced looking for holes in his story. He thought a deep fake video would take me down. He really underestimated me. He had no idea I was set to inherit a company. But I didn't call him out right away. Instead, I put on a devastated expression. Eyes watering as I grabbed Dylan's hand. I was wrong earlier. Thank you. Everyone, including Dylan, looked shocked. Thank me. For what? I kept going. Thank you for showing me I was violated without even knowing it. Please send me that video. I need to report that creep immediately. He froze, yanking his hand back and scowling. Iris? What are you talking about? You obviously did this willingly. Stop playing the victim. I ignored him and started sobbing in front of everyone. My cries were loud and desperate. If no one believes me, I'll end my life. To prove I'm innocent. I made a dramatic move like I was going to hurt myself. The crowd clearly moved, rushed to stop me. Then I wiped my tears and spoke firmly. I'm calling the cops and the media. Dylan's face went white. Are you crazy? You can't go public with this? Do you want everyone to know? You'll embarrass the whole company. I stared him down. Why shouldn't I call the police? I just want the police to get me justice. Is that so wrong? Dylan's face turned purple. He kicked his car in rage. Iris, I'm warning you. You're not calling the cops today. As a company employee, I won't let you ruin our reputation. I let out a bitter laugh. Now he suddenly cares about company reputation. I had no intention of actually calling the police. I just needed to scare him. After all, the pregnant woman in the car couldn't wait much longer. I needed to wrap this up fast. Ignoring Dylan's yelling, I pulled out my phone and made a call. Mr. Harrison, I need you to come down. I have a video that needs authentication. Within 10 minutes, a black sedan pulled up. Middle-aged man in a suit carrying professional equipment got out. This was Mr. Harrison, one of the top AI. Forensics experts in the field. After hearing the situation, he connected his equipment to Dylan's phone. Within minutes, he had his answer. This video was created using AI. Face swapping and motion synthesis technology. The crowd exploded. This time their anger was directed at Dylan. He faked the video to slander her. What a scumbag. That's messed up. I knew something was fishy. No way a nice girl would do that. He totally set her up. He must be jealous. She drives a Bentley, so he tried to ruin her reputation. What a creep. Dylan turned white as a sheet, stammered. Unable to get words out. I walked up to him. Voice dripping with disdain. So I wasn't drugged after all. Just slandered with a deep fake video. Dylan, you really can't stand seeing others succeed. You can't get promoted. So you assume every successful woman slept her way up. See someone with a nice car and you turn green with envy. Your small-mindedness is sad and laughable. The crowd started pointing and whispering about Dylan. Dylan's eyes turned dark with hatred as he glared at me. Iris, you just wait. Remembering the pregnant woman in the car. I didn't waste another second. Dylan, your Volkswagen can't outrun my Bentley. Can it? If you want your wife to be okay, move out of my way. He scoffed. Someone like you doesn't deserve to say my wife's name. I ignored him and got back in the car. The engine roared to life as I started it. In the rearview mirror I saw Dylan frozen, eyes blazing with anger. My heart skipped a beat. I worried he might do something desperate. I was about to tell Pearl to hold on. But before I could speak, I heard screeching brakes and a crash behind me. Bang! A massive jolt hit the back of the car, sending it lurching forward. My forehead nearly hit the steering wheel from the back seat. Pearl cried out, clutching her stomach tighter. I looked back. Dylan's car was smashed into my Bentley's rear bumper. His bumper was totaled. He was slumped over his steering wheel, eyes bloodshot, glaring at me like a rabid animal. Iris, how dare you show off your fancy car? How dare you flaunt your money? I'll teach you a lesson for crossing me. Another crash. He rammed me again. The car shot forward half a meter. My forehead slammed into the steering wheel. Everything went black. In the back seat came Pearl's scream of agony. Ah. My belly. My baby. It hurts so bad. Ignoring my throbbing head, I spun around. Pearl was curled up in the back seat. White dress was soaked in blood. The baby. My baby. Please be okay. Cold sweat broke out across my forehead. I fumbled for my phone to call 911. Then someone started kicking my car door. Dylan stormed out of his car, face contorted with rage. Iris? You can't even drive. Typical woman driver. You caused this crash. You're paying for my car. Or I'll make sure you get fired. I laughed in disbelief. Dylan. You've got some nerve twisting this around. He kept ranting, demanding I get out of the car. But the situation was critical. I just needed the ambulance to hurry. Pearl's breathing was getting weaker. The bloodstain on the seat kept spreading. Looking at Dylan's smug face, I ground my teeth. Dylan. Shut up. Someone in this car is dying. Dying? What's that to me? Dylan sneered and kicked the door again. Quit making excuses. You're just avoiding the bill. You drive a Bentley and act so high and mighty. Pay up or you'll be sorry. He kept rambling, viewing the same insults. I bit my lip and tried one last time. As calmly as possible. Dylan. The person in this car is your wife. She's in critical condition because of you. Dylan, you bastard. You'll regret this. That made him even angrier. You bitch. How dare you drag my wife into this? Want to die? Fine. I'll grant your wish. He grabbed the door handle, trying to yank it open. But the second he saw who was in the back seat, his face went ghostly white. He froze like he'd been struck by lightning, lips trembling. The silence that followed was more deafening than the sound of the crash. The cigarette Dylan had been chewing on fell from his nerveless lips, landing on the blood-splattered pavement. His hand, which had been white-knuckled on the door handle, began to shake so violently that it rattled the metal. Pearl, he whispered. The word didn't sound like a name, it sounded like a death rattle. I shoved him aside with a strength I didn't know I possessed. My head was swimming, the world tilting on its axis as blood from the cut on my forehead trickled into my eye, but I didn't care. I pulled open the back door. Pearl was gasping, her face the color of wet ash. The back seat of the Bentley, once a pristine cream leather, was now a horrific tableau of crimson. Iris. She wheezed, her hand feebly reaching for mine. The baby, it hurts, tell him, he did this. I know, Pearl. I know. Help is coming, I choked out, glancing at the crowd. Call an ambulance. Now. I screamed at the onlookers who were still holding their phones, paralyzed by the sudden shift from a petty drama to a life-or-death tragedy. Dylan staggered back, hitting the side of his crumpled Volkswagen. He looked at his hands, then at the wreckage of my car, his wife's blood on the bumper of the car he had just rammed in a fit of jealous pique. I didn't know, he stammered, his eyes bulging. I thought you were lying. You're always so smug, Iris. Driving that car, looking down on everyone. I just wanted to take you down a peg. You took your own child down, Dylan, I spat, the words tasting like copper and venom. You chose your ego over your family. If she dies, you're not just a slanderer. You're a murderer. The sirens began to wail in the distance, a thin, piercing scream that grew into a roar. The hospital was a blur of fluorescent lights and the rhythmic squeak of gurney wheels. Pearl was whisked away into the emergency operating room, her hand slipping from mine as the double doors slammed shut. I sat in the waiting room, a stark contrast to the sterile environment. My designer blouse was torn and stained with blood, my forehead was bandaged, and my hands were still stained with the copper tang of Pearl's life force. Dylan was sitting 3 rows away, hunched over, his face buried in his hands. 2 police officers stood guard near the exit. They had already taken his statement, or rather, they had listened to him babble incoherently about sugar daddies and Bentleys while they looked at the dashcam footage I had handed over. Iris, Dylan croaked, looking up. His eyes were bloodshot, his face gaunt. You have to tell them. Tell them it was an accident. I was stressed. The office, it's been so high pressure. I looked at him, and for the first time I felt nothing. Not even rage. Just a cold, profound disgust. The office didn't make you deepfake a video of me, Dylan. The office didn't make you follow me and ram my car. Your own rot did that. I can pay for the car, he shouted, a desperate, hysterical edge to his voice. I'll take out a loan. I'll give you my commission for the year. Just don't press charges. If I get a felony, I lose my license. I'll never work in finance again. You're still thinking about your career? I asked, incredulous. Your wife is in surgery, Dylan. Your child might be dead. And you're worried about your license? Before he could respond, a man in a sharp charcoal suit hurried into the waiting room. He looked like power personified, gray hair swept back, eyes that had seen 1,000 boardrooms and blinked at none of them. Iris, he called out, his voice thick with concern. Dylan's eyes widened. He recognized the man. Everyone in the city did. It was Marcus Sterling, the CEO of Sterling Global, the parent company that owned the firm we worked for. Mr. Sterling? Dylan stammered, standing up instinctively. Sir, I can explain. Iris was speeding, and I was just trying to. Sterling didn't even look at Dylan. He walked straight to me and took my hands. Are you all right? Your father is on a private jet from London right now. He's frantic. Why didn't you call the family security team? Why were you out there alone? Dylan froze. His jaw practically hit the floor. Father? Family security? I looked at Dylan, a slow, cold smile spreading across my face despite the pain in my head. Oh, Dylan. I told you rich families don't have daughters, didn't I? I lied. We just don't have daughters who feel the need to tell people like you who they are. Marcus Sterling turned his head then, fixing Dylan with a gaze that could have frozen the sun. And you must be Mr. Pierce. The man who decided to use his company car, a car provided by my firm, to assault the heiress of the Anderson estate while she was performing an act of charity for your own wife. Dylan's face went from white to a sickly, translucent gray. He looked like he was about to vomit. Heiress? The Anderson, as in Anderson Group? The majority shareholders? The very same, Sterling said, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. I've seen the video, Dylan. Not the fake one you made. The real one. From the traffic cameras. I've already contacted HR. You aren't just fired. You're being erased. And by the time the Anderson legal team is done with you, you won't be able to afford a bicycle, let alone a Volkswagen. The next 48 hours were a masterclass in systemic destruction. While Pearl remained in critical but stable condition after an emergency C-section, the world of Dylan Pierce imploded. The baby, a tiny, fragile boy named Leo, was in the NICU, fighting for every breath. I didn't have to do much. Once that sugar daddy rumors were traced back to his IP address, and the AI expert's testimony was entered into the police record, Dylan was a pariah. The crowd from the street had uploaded their videos. The internet, which Dylan had tried to use as a weapon against me, had turned its gargantuan, unblinking eye on him. The Bentley coward became a trending topic. His address was leaked. His past transgressions, the coworkers he had harassed, the women he had driven out of the industry with his kinky jokes, all came crawling out of the woodwork. I stood in Pearl's hospital room on the third day. She was awake, though she looked like a ghost of her former self. He's gone, isn't he? She asked, her voice a mere thread. He's in custody, Pearl, I said gently. He's being charged with aggravated assault, reckless endangerment, and felony defamation. He won't be coming near you or Leo ever again. A single tear tracked through the pale dust of her cheek. I knew he was jealous. I knew he hated that I made more than him. But I never thought he'd hurt the baby just to spite you. He didn't see you as a person, Pearl. He saw you as an extension of his own ego. And when he couldn't control the world around him, he lashed out at the nearest thing he thought he owned. She looked at me, her eyes clearing for a moment. Who are you, Iris? Really? I'm just a woman who's tired of men like Dylan, I said. And I'm the woman who's going to make sure you and Leo never want for anything for the rest of your lives. A week later, I walked into the offices of our firm. I wasn't wearing my usual regular employee attire. I was draped in an emerald silk suit, my hair swept back, the scar on my forehead a jagged badge of honor. The office was silent. The gossip had stopped. Every head bowed as I passed. In the main conference room, the board of directors sat in hushed anticipation. At the foot of the table, Dylan Pierce sat, flanked by a public defender. He had been brought in from jail for a formal termination hearing, a formality required by his contract before the firm could claw back his bonuses. He looked broken. His suit was wrinkled, his hair greasy, the arrogance that once defined him replaced by a twitching, pathetic desperation. When he saw me, he scrambled to his feet. Iris. Please. Talk to them. Tell them it was a misunderstanding. I'll do anything. I'll sign a confession. Just don't let them take the house. Pearl needs a place to live. I didn't sit. I stood at the head of the table, leaning my hands on the polished mahogany. The house has already been foreclosed on, Dylan, I said calmly. I bought the debt this morning. Pearl and Leo will live there, yes. But your name is no longer on the deed. In fact, your name is no longer on anything. You can't do that, he shrieked. I can do whatever I want, I replied. I own 51% of Sterling Global as of 9 o'clock this morning. Which means I own this building, I own your former desk, and I own the very air you're breathing in this room. The directors looked at their laps. No one dared to breathe. Dylan, you lived your life by labeling women. You called us sluts, gold diggers, and distractions. You thought our success was something we traded for, rather than something we built. You tried to ruin my reputation with a machine because you couldn't compete with my reality. I leaned in, my voice dropping to a whisper that carried to every corner of the room. So here is your new label, irrelevant. You are a footnote in a story about a better woman. You will go to prison. You will watch from a cell as that sugar daddy Bentley you hated so much drives your son to a school you could never afford. You will realize, every single day, that the only thing you ever truly took down was yourself. I turned to the board. Fire him. And then sue him for every cent of company resources he used to create that deep fake. I want him in debt until his great-grandchildren are old. The final roar. I walked out of the office and into the bright afternoon sun. My new Bentley, the exact same model, but in a defiant, shimmering midnight blue, was waiting at the curb. My phone buzzed. A text from the hospital. Leo breathed on his own today. Pearl is sitting up. I felt a weight lift from my chest that I hadn't realized I was carrying. As I pulled into traffic, a battered Volkswagen pulled up alongside me at a red light. The driver, a young guy with a cigarette hanging from his mouth, looked over at my car, his eyes widening with that familiar mix of awe and envy. He started to rev his engine, looking like he wanted to say something, to make some snide remark about how a girl like me got a car like this. I rolled down my window and looked him dead in the eye. I didn't say a word. I just tapped the scar on my forehead and pointed forward. The light turned green. I didn't speed. I didn't have to. I just drove, steady and sure, leaving the ghost of Dylan Pierce and all the men like him in my rearview mirror, where they belonged. The engine roared, a deep, powerful sound that promised a future where the truth didn't just come out, it stayed out. And for the first time in a long time, the road ahead was perfectly clear.